Now, this next story is from a park ranger named Molly, and it happened to her, but it happened to her when she was a little girl. She says when she was a kid, her and her friend Lucy used to go out into the woods behind her house a lot. Molly lived in northern Maine, where there is a lot of dense, unpopulated national forest. She says the woods up there are so thick that it basically blots out almost all of the sunlight. But she and Lucy had grown up there, so they were kind of used to that. But they always did maintain a little bit of caution in certain areas. She said it was never really talked about, but it was an unwritten rule never to go more than 1 or 2 miles into that forest. The adults never said why, but nobody ever ventured out that far. She and Lucy used to make up stories about bears being as big as houses, and they used to scare each other by hiding and making growling noises while the other one would look for them. Now, Molly says one summer, a big storm came through and blew down lots of trees and started a fire in the forest a few miles from her house. Now, fire crews got it under control, but she said that some of those firemen came back not quite the same. It was like they'd been to war. And you could tell the ones who got really scared because they all had kind of the same look on their face, kind of that shell-shocked look. Lucy said they looked like walking dead people. They didn't smile or say anything when you went up to them. And most of them left town once everything was over. Now, Molly asked her parents about it, but her parents said that they didn't know anything about it. Now, once the okay was given that the woods were safe again, Molly and Lucy decided to hike out to see where the fire had been. So they hike out, and in about 2 miles or so, they start seeing burnt trees and stuff. Molly says she can remember Lucy getting really upset when they found a deer skeleton curled up at the base of a tree, and that she had to practically drag Lucy away from it because Lucy wanted to bury it. But Molly says there was something about it that just wasn't right. There was something wrong with the antlers. She doesn't remember exactly what was wrong. She just remembers that she didn't want Lucy to touch it, that neither one of them should be touching this thing. So they keep walking. And the further they go, the more burnt everything got. Eventually, there were no standing trees. And she said it was like being on another planet. Almost nothing green, just brown and black everywhere. And they're just standing there, kind of taking it all in, when they hear somebody shouting in the distance. So Molly panics, thinking it's her dad and he's going to come and tell her that she's grounded. And Lucy takes off and goes and hides behind a big rock because she says she doesn't want to get caught out here. Her parents had forbidden her to come out here at all, and she had lied to them and said that they were going to a movie. So Molly follows her behind the rock, and they just keep listening. She could hear this voice getting closer and closer, and she realized they're calling for help. And she thought maybe it was just some hiker who got lost and needed directions back to town. That used to happen all the time, so she was used to helping those people out. So she starts calling out to him. And when she figures out that he's following her voice, she keeps calling to him until she sees him running at her in the distance. And as he gets closer, Molly can see that his face is all red. So Molly tells Lucy to give her her backpack because she knows that Lucy has a first aid kit. And Lucy makes this noise like she's grossed out and asks Molly if she saw his face. Molly just tells Lucy to shut up, and she starts jogging toward the strange man. So Molly and the strange man meet about halfway. And when they stopped, Molly could see that his nose, his lips, and part of his forehead were all gone. It was like they'd been sliced clean off, and he was bleeding pretty bad. So she takes a step back just because she's kind of afraid to move when he grabs her shoulders. And Molly felt like she got a shock. And the guy jumps back and just kind of starts babbling. And the only thing that Molly can understand is that he kept asking how long he'd been gone. And he asked where his unit was. But Molly just shook her head. And he looked over and saw Molly's Walkman and started screaming. And he just kept babbling and touching his face. And that's when Molly saw that he wasn't wearing the right clothing. He had on some kind of weird gray cloth jacket and like these almost formal pants. And on the jacket were these weird buttons and it had red trim around it. And he's continuing to babble, but Molly's just shaking her head and telling him she doesn't understand what he's saying. And then she turns to her first aid kit, but he just starts screaming again and screams the only thing that she really did understand.
Don't touch me! You'll make me go back there!
And after that, he ran off, and Molly could hear him screaming all the way until she couldn't hear him anymore. So she turns around and looks at Lucy, and Lucy's just crying. So the two girls just packed up their stuff and started walking back to town. And Lucy asked Molly over and over again, what happened? Who was that guy? But Molly didn't say a word. And when they got home, Molly told Lucy she didn't want to go with her into those woods anymore. They stayed friends, but they never talked about that guy ever again. If you liked this video, go ahead and click right here on a video that YouTube has picked out just for you. See you next time on the In-Between.